AITA for not dropping child support. Throwaway account because my family follows main using mobile excuse the format. I have two children, B and James 23 from my first marriage. We divorced when the kids were 4. In the divorce, I got full custody and he was supposed to pay child support plus half medical, dental and every other weekend visitation. He never showed up to the court proceedings. For the first 2 years, he would sporadically come by to see the children. He rarely paid CS and was locked up a few times for non-payment. We went back to court and they reduced his child support to $200.00 a month for both kids. He never paid. He is close to $90,000 in back child support and obviously he never paid any medical, dental bills. I found out a week ago that my ex-boo reached out to James to talk on behalf of my ex. My ex wants to reconnect. It's been 17 years, but he's worried about the back CS that's owed. James has talked to me and asked me if I would drop the back owed CS so him and his father can start a relationship. I spoke to my current husband and he said it's up to me. I believe that my ex is just using our son to get the CS dropped. I doubt I will ever receive any money that's owed. It's just the principle of it. I haven't told James my decision yet because maybe I'm just being petty. I have spoken with close friends about it that say I would be the AITA if I did not drop the CS case. FYI, my ex works under the table and also has a wife and ASD that he provides for. He's been living fine throughout the years, he just didn't want to pay CS. Also, he did not reach out to be just James. The reason being, in my opinion, is because B is a girl. B doesn't want to have anything to do with him. Edit, because of back CS owed, my ex has a warrant out. He has had that warrant out for years, that's why he wants me to drop it. I assuming the logic is if I drop the CS, then the warrant would be void and he would be able to start reconnecting with James. NTA, I believe that my ex is just using our son to get the CS he is. And you know why, you outlined it right here. Also, he did not reach out to be just James. The reason being, in my opinion, is because B is a girl. B doesn't want to have anything to do with him. It's not because she's a girl. It's because she wants nothing to do with him and he knows it. There's nothing for him to gain, so he's not trying. He's taking advantage of a young man. Your son wants a father figure in his life and he doesn't realize that said father is just using him. You are not the asshole here. You may never see a penny of that child support, but don't relent on it. Your ex had an obligation and he failed miserably at it. Don't let him ever forget it. NTA, remind James and your ex that child support and time spent with the kids are two separate things. Owing child support doesn't prevent visitation, and James isn't at fault now anyway. Owed child support to you has literally nothing to do with his father being able to have a relationship with him. Your ex is being manipulative. NTA, don't drop it. That is money he owes to you and your children. Even if you were wealthy and felt inclined to forgive his debt to you, I don't think it would be your right to forgive his debt to your kids. In many states, the custodial parent doesn't have the option to drop the child support, especially if it goes through the court's depth of children and family. Your ex hasn't really wanted anything to do with his children, except till now, when he thinks he can get out of the back support. NTA. And what does one thing have to do with the other? He can still do things with James despite the CS. He is the one making the demand of I will only see my son if Op drops the CS. Emotionally manipulating James make me so mad that if he was my son, I would report X to IRS. NTA. NTA. If the ex truly desired a relationship with James, he will pursue this relationship no matter the cost. Otherwise, he is not sincere. Definitely NTA. Child support is not just a legal obligation, but the government's way to ensure the child is getting their needs met. It sounds like he's trying to take the easy way out, especially if your observation shows that he is fully capable of paying it back. Over 9 OK, I would do anything legally to get it back. There is no relationship between the child support and ex having contact with the son. One does not prevent the other. Ask James to explain to you how child support is preventing contact. Let James articulate it so he will realize that this is bonkers. NTA, that I am sure your ex was recently made aware of how much he owes and possibly threatened with jail. The minute you drop the back CS demand, your children will never see him again. If anything, you should be pushing for the back CS to be perused. You children are old enough that $90,000 could be paid directly to them, which would give them a head start. Your ex shouldn't be able to get away with not taking care of his obligations without any consequences. You don't owe him anything, he owes you and your children. AITA, he made the decision time and time again to ignore his responsibilities, and even if the want to see his son is real, these are the consequences of his actions. I don't know what I'd say to your son, but it's clear he didn't pay them much mind almost their entire adolescence. Sound like he's about to get an inheritance or a settlement from something and don't want it to get taken for back CS. He didn't do anything to help your life, so I would not do something that will help his. To do it, my mill dropped it because he wanted to get a job with the airlines but had the CS hanging over him. He said drop it and I'll pay their student loans. He never did. Do not drop it. Been sort of in your son's shoes before, and while it'll probably hurt anger him now, he will likely understand later in life. He won't drop it. Or maybe not, but it'll depend on what X puts in his head. Maybe worth explaining to son why you are doing what you are, but it may fall on deaf ears. You're right, you probably won't ever see a dime of the money, but X probably won't have a relationship with son if you drop the CS anyhow. At least that's what history says. Chances are X is trying to do something and the court order back pay owed is messing with that, so he's using son to manipulate the situation. And truthfully, if X wanted a relationship with son, he would have made an effort in the last 17 years, but he didn't. He went and made a new life family without his first 2 kids. He doesn't have son's best interest at heart. Maybe a relative he's close to, that's not you, can explain this to him. Don't let him manipulate you through your children. That's a lot if he had it, so nitrogen monoxide. You are not the guilty as. You were wronged. Never let that money go. I would put money on will manipulative your kids, then you. Then drop them once the past child support is forgiven legally. Do they own a home? Get an attorney and go after it. Regarding the kids, tell them or has nothing to do with them and remind them they didn't starve because they had one bio parent who actually cared. Good luck. And if I seem passionate ... I let child support go and bitterly regretted it. Not because I couldn't support he came back into their lives and lied to them. Made me the bad person. It was awful. James is 23. He does not need court permission to see his father, nor does failure to pay CS result in revocation of visitation rights. Your ex is using James to manipulate you into dropping the child support. Your ex does not need the child support dropped in order to attempt to reconnect with James. Doesn't even make any sense. NTA, do not drop the child support. What does one have to do with the other? He is welcome to pursue a relationship with James. How does the back child support stop him from pursuing a relationship with an adult? NTA. Nonsense. The child support has zero to do with the relationship your ex has or doesn't have with his children. I lived this myself and I am so glad I never released my ex from his obligations. He did end up paying the week our kid turned 18 and then all of a sudden wanted to be a dad. NTA, don't let him manipulate your kids or family. Tell your family to butt out and mind their own business. The money is an issue between you and your ex, not your ex and your son. Owes a debt and you deserve all that money. Ex-Bill reached out to James to talk on behalf of my ex. My ex wants to reconnect. It's been 17 years, but he's worried about the back CS that's owed. James has talked to me and asked me if I would drop the back owed CS so him and his father can start a relationship. Tell James that his ability to see his father has nothing to do with the money owed. Ask his father exactly how something bad could happen just from seeing each other. Tell him if his father can prove that something bad will happen as a consequence of seeing James, you will consider it. Sure, X could eventually go to jail again for not paying, but that has nothing to do with seeing James. There is no cause and effect there. Don't drop the child support. He can build a relationship with James by texting, calling, video chats, etc. He doesn't necessarily need to start with in-person visits, which he probably wouldn't do anyway. Tell James the child support isn't keeping his father away. His father is keeping himself away. He can make a payment and future arrangements pay on a schedule, which in most cases eliminates the warrant. Not all. Anyone saying you're in the wrong here is an that is money for your child that your deadbeat of an ex owes. Thanks for watching.